your mic will be hot. But it's real close. I'll turn you down, but it's going to take me. I've got to zoom into him and pop him up. Don't mumble under your breath. This thing's very close. Very sensitive. And I don't need you getting calls from backstage. Let's not blow the murderer.
His election night party. But until he does that, I am joined by two guests here who you've been getting some insight from this whole evening. Alfredo Rodriguez III, who is our GOP consultant. Thank you for being with us. And Mr. Matt Engel, who is our Democrat consultant here. As we are waiting for Paxton to take the stage, I just want to ask you all, we're starting to see those Dallas County numbers coming in. You've been here with us all evening. What is surprising you? What is not surprising you at all?
Well, I think it's not surprising that Jasmine would carry Dallas County by a higher margin, and we'll see whether that's enough to make any changes statewide. I'm not sure that it will, but what's clear though is Jasmine Crockett's presence on the ballot in her campaign made a difference in down ballot races here in Dallas County. We see that John Crusoe, the DA, is in a very, very close race. I think that's largely because of the turnout that Jasmine's had. And then we've seen a couple of really close state house races over in Tarrant County, which I think were the product of Jasmine. So whether or not she prevails, clearly she's had an impact on this election.
Ms. Rodriguez.
Yeah, I think on the Republican side, everyone seemed to think that John Cornyn was going to come in a distant second in the U.S. Senate Republican primary, and clearly he has led the entire evening. I think that the fact that he has led and the race is still this close will certainly go into a runoff, but I do think that the president will certainly come out and make a endorsement, and my assumption is that he'll make an endorsement for John Cornyn in the runoff because James Tallarico looks like he's going to be the Democratic nominee, and certainly the candidate that Republicans feared a little bit more than they did Jasmine Crockett. And so I do think that the president's going to want to have save a lot of the money that would need to be spent to pull Ken Paxton over the finish line in November.
And staying on the Republican side of this race, something that was really interesting, obviously a delay that we, weren't anticipating going into the night with the Dallas County numbers, but we did have the Collin County numbers a little bit earlier, those coming in, still showing Cornyn kind of in the lead there with this being Paxton's hometown. What do you make of that?
Well, it is, Collin County is Ken Paxton's hometown, but it is also his soon-to-be ex-wife's hometown as well. And clearly Ken Paxton has made some enemies in Collin County. There's certainly quite a bit of families and quite a bit of moms and quite a bit of wives that live in Collin County, and I think they came out and voted in droves for John Cornyn.
And I do believe Cornyn is actually speaking right now, so I think we're going to go to what he has to say.
To Congressman Wesley Hunt and his family, you ran a spirited race, and you have a bright future, and I wish you well. We now head into a 12-week primary runoff. Elections are about choices, and the choice in the Republican race for the U.S. Senate is crystal clear. I've worked for decades to build the Republican Party, both here in Texas and nationally. I refuse to allow a flawed, self-centered, and shameless candidate like Ken Paxton risk everything we've worked so hard to build over these many years. There is simply too much at stake in this midterm election for our state and for our country. The final 2 years of President Trump's agenda hangs in the balance. I'm proud to have supported President Trump and worked with him to help him achieve his goals in the Congress. If he's nominated, there's a high risk that Paxton would lose this Senate seat, taking 5 congressional seats down with him. And you don't have to take my word for it. In public polling in the last few months, U.S. Senate nominees are either tied with or beating Paxton if he were the nominee. Ken Paxton as the nominee would be a dead weight at the top of the ticket for Republicans running all across this great state. Over the next 12 weeks, Texas Republican primary voters will hear more about my record of delivering conservative victories in the United States Senate and learn more about Ken's indefensible personal behavior and failures in office. Just like the primary, we have a plan to win the runoff, and we are in the process of executing it. Judgment Day is coming for Ken Paxton. Thank you all. May God bless Texas, and may God continue to bless in the United States of America.
Take a few questions. Jim, you want to start with AP?
Their address, his non-traditional watch party, Teresa Woodard, who's covering his campaign, said that he had, just a handful of people from the media there. He just addressed them and had very strong comments for Ken Paxton there. And that was something that we were just talking about, actually. And you were speaking to, the impact of a lot of with his wife and his divorce and all the things and the impact that has had on voters. We just heard John Cornyn speak about moral failures and saying that Judgment Day is going to come, and was very, very stark in saying that. So, when we're expecting this runoff and a couple more months of these attack ads what is going to happen next in this race?
Well, Ken Paxton has a lot of baggage, but certainly in a state like Texas, which is very religious and is very faith-oriented, going after Ken Paxton on the divorce and the reasons for those divorce is a home run with a lot of voters, particularly women.
Yeah. And question, from looking at the Democratic side of this race, when we're expecting a winner on this side of this, does this put the Democrats in a better position to not have to spend that time preparing for runoff?
Absolutely. The Democrats will have a winner tonight, and they will have 2.5 months in which they can talk to the broad electorate and talk about how they really represent Texas values, whereas Republicans, and you said John Cornyn talking apocalyptic terms about all the terrible things that he's going to say and do.